Hey guys, it's Mr. Dwyer with lesson 4 on spreadsheets, sorting and pivot tables. You're going to use this data here on my website, Presidential Vetoes. Go ahead and open that file up, and then of course you'll need to make a copy so that you can edit it on your own. So you go up to File, make a copy like you've done many times before, and you could just name it copy of presidential vetoes. That's fine. You can keep the name like that. I'll be coming around and checking on your progress. Here's what we're going to do with this file. We're going to do several things. First of all, let's clean it up a little bit. You know how we like to do that. Let's take these. First of all, I want you to notice something about this file. If you look at the average executive orders per year, it doesn't fit. A lot of these things don't fit inside the box. So what we're going to do is take those, right click on it, and let's see, we're going to make it the format is going to wrap text. We want to wrap it so that we can see all of the words right there. We don't really want to make it big, so big that all of these things go off the page. So we just want to wrap the text so that you can see what the entire title is. And I think there's usually there's a centering thing. There's a horizontal alignment that you can make. There it is right there. See how it's at the top? That means it's aligned at the top. We want it to be center or middle aligned. So when you click on that, you see how it lines up really nice in the middle there. We'll make this bold, and we'll also make that a header row by grabbing and dragging that down. Now that I've done that, let's also make this entire row in the center itself. So now it's in the center and in the middle. So those are all really nice, fit in very nicely. And we'll take all of these columns right there. I'm selecting all of the numbers, all the numerical columns, and we'll make them also center aligned so that it looks a little bit nicer. The text, a lot of times you want to keep left aligned, which does look nicer for the president's names to be left aligned. Same with the party that they're in. We're going to double click on this to make that so that we can see all the president's names, and we're also going to double click on the party designation so we can see all of those party designations. Now we're going to move an entire column. Notice when I move the mouse to the top of the column, see how it turns into a hand? My pointer turns into a hand. That means that if I click and drag it, see how it grabs it? I can actually move an entire column to a different location and then let go of it, and now it rearranged those entire columns for me. You could also change the header row, or remember how I did header rows? You could do header columns by clicking on that and dragging it over. That way, you'll notice that I can go up and down, or I can go left and right. And I've got the top row locked in and the first two columns locked in as well. In fact, let's move that back down to row A. So now you can see that I've got the president's name and the all the titles of the columns. They're all locked in, and it looks really nice. I want to show you one other thing. If you take a look at these headers here, this is the year when the presidents took office. This is the total years in office. These are just numbers that you can get out of encyclopedia or online somewhere, but this is just data. Same with the total vetoes and the total executive orders. Well, I don't really want that. This is just, I only want to know about vetoes. So I'm going to click on the down arrow and I'm going to delete that entire column. You'll also notice that the average executive orders per year, if you know how to do average, you're taking the years in office, the total executive orders divided by the years in office, and that's how you should. So sorry, what am I been talking about? Executive orders. Let's delete that column. We don't want that column. This is all I care about. If I take the total vetoes, right there, 2 vetoes, divided by the number of years in office, then I will get the average number of vetoes per year. But you'll notice that if I change, what if I change the number of vetoes to 3 and I hit enter? That number didn't change. That's because this number is not an equation. This number is just a number. It was just entered as raw data into this cell here. Well, I don't want that to be raw data because that defeats the purpose, part of the purpose of a spreadsheet. I want this to be based upon these two things. So I'm going to change that. I'm going to say that this cell F2 equals, notice it says equals now, it equals whatever's in that cell E2, divided by whatever's in that cell. And now when I hit enter, it's going to calculate that for me. So 20.25 was actually rounded, and we can go ahead and round all of these things a little bit later, but I like to keep that in the long form. And now I can very quickly and easily fill in all of those other cells with the same formula with respect to where they are at using the fill handle, and I let go of it, and you'll see now that is the exact data that I need. So now if I said, oh, you know what, I had the wrong information, James Madison actually had 12 vetoes, look at this cell right here, it's going to change to 1.5 per year because it's dividing 12 by 8 and it's doing the math for me. Okay, I'm going to also click on this entire cell, and now let's go ahead and round it to 2 decimal places. So the way you do that is you can go to more formats and you go to number, and notice how the number automatically rounds to 2 decimal places because that's what that basic number format is. So there's my data, and now I'm going to show you a couple cool things you can do with this data. First thing we're going to do is talk about how you can sort data. So if I click on data up here, the data bar, and I say sort, excuse me, I need to be careful. I'm going to click up here, so I'm selecting the entire thing. Now I click on data and I select sort column. I can sort the sheet by column A, or I can change the range, which I like to use this. I can sort the range. Notice it says data has a header row, which it does. I say yes. So now it says, do I want to sort by president, by party, by the year when they took office, by the years in office, by the total vetoes, or by the average vetoes? I want to sort it by president. And notice when I do this, it's going to sort it, since I have these names, it's going to sort it by first name. It would probably be better if I had 2 different columns, one for the first name and one for the last name, so that you can more easily sort by last name. There's no way really to sort these things by last name unless I create an entire field or column designated just to last name. So you notice that it rearranged everything according to first name alphabetically. I could also sort instead, and you could also, there's a shorter way to sort. If I want to sort according to party, you can click on this, and sort sheet A to Z means from A to Z alphabetical order. Sort sheet from Z to A means reverse alphabetical order. So when I click on that, you'll notice it puts all the Democrats at the top, then it puts the Democrats and Republicans, then the Federalists, because that comes, the next letter comes next, then the Republicans, and then the Whig Party. So you can change that. If I want to change it back to when they took office, this is the way it was sorted originally. If I click on that, you'll notice it's back to how it used to be. It's sorted by when they took office. You could sort in more than one way. This is kind of a good thing to know. I'm going to again select all of my data by clicking on that top cell up there, top left cell. I'm going to select sort range, data has header row, and I'm going to sort it by, let's say, let's sort it by the total number of vetoes. So that's going to be my first sort parameter. And then I'm going to add another column because there's a lot of people that have the same number of vetoes, and I'm going to sort that. Then secondly, I'm going to sort it according to the party. And now when I click sort, you'll notice that it starts with all of the presidents that had 0 vetoes, but then it also puts those people that were tied at 0 according to party. It puts them in alphabetical order according to party. So I can see that 2 Democrat Republicans had 0 vetoes, 1 Federalist had 0 vetoes, 1 Republican had 0 vetoes, and 3 Whigs had 0 vetoes. I'm wondering, the straight Democrats never had 0 vetoes. And I can see then some data. By this data, I can analyze my data in that way. And you'll also notice Franklin Roosevelt, boy, did he sure like to veto things. I could also sort according to the vetoes per year instead of straight up vetoes if I want to do that, and then I could sort by another parameter as well if I want. So I'll be coming around asking you to do this after you guys all have a chance to watch this video. But now I'm going to show you one other really neat little thing that you can use, and this is called a pivot table. I love pivot tables. This is kind of an advanced thing, but it's really pretty simple to do. We're going to take this data and sort it with a pivot table report. When you click on pivot table report, you'll notice that it added a new worksheet down at the bottom here, and it's asking me over here in the report editor for some information. Notice first of all that the range that it's going to take, and you want to make sure your range is correct, I want it to take the entire spreadsheet, so from A1 all the way to F45. If I go back here, I'll see that's all of my data, A1 to F45. All of my data is what it's selecting, and I want to sort it. This pivot table is going to take information and it's going to sort of collect it for me and put it in a really nice form so I can see what I want to see. So I'm going to just do an example for you here. I want to sort it. First, I'm going to add the row. I'm going to sort it by party. So I'm going to take a look at all the different political parties that there are, and you'll notice that when I put the row, I'm selecting the rows to be by party. Notice there's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different parties, and I can show grand total or not, whatever I want. Notice that it went away, or I can say show. If I click on the show grand total, then it'll add up all of the totals here. Then I want to add some values to this. I'm not going to add any columns. I'm just going to add some values in this instance. I want to add values of the total number of vetoes, the total number of years in office. And you'll notice what it did is it automatically summed all of the Democrats. It automatically added up the total number of years in office. Actually, I should add that column to years in office. Nope, I shouldn't do that. Sort by, no, bad idea. I will just have to go ahead and add at the top. I can add another row so that I know what it is that I'm sorting there, because it didn't put a title at the top there. But that's the total number of years in office, and then I'm going to add another field, which is the total number of vetoes. Oh, there it is. It did add them to. It did put the data at the top. I thought it would. So the sum of the years in office for all the Democrats is right here. In total, if I went through sheet 1 and added up the total number of years for all the Democrats in here, I would get this number right here. The pivot table is a very quick way to collect all of that information. And then you can see the total number of vetoes by Democrats was 1695. And you can see all this data right here. And then furthermore, you can take this data, and now I can use this cell right here to create another formula. I'm going to say equals the sum of the total vetoes divided by the sum of the years, and that will give me the average vetoes per year for a Democrat. And now that I think about it, if I click back on this, I could have added that as one more field, because I think that was one of my last fields, wasn't it? Yeah, average vetoes per year. And when I do that, whoops, I want not the sum of the average, I want the actual average of vetoes per year, because I want it to basically divide those two. And that should, oh, you know what? That won't actually work. It's a little bit technical. I'm getting a little bit technical here, but that's not going to give me technically the average. The best way to find the average is to create one in this pivot table. Just create my own cell here that is equal to the sum of the total vetoes divided by the sum of the years. So that tells me the number of vetoes per year, and then if I fill down, it will show me all of those. And again, I can round it to 2 decimal places so that I can see the total number of vetoes per year according to party. And I might want to write that up here. Vetoes per year. And again, you can take this and double click on it so that it spaces it out perfectly, or you could wrap the text. You can take this and choose format and wrap the text so that it fills around, and that way you can make all of these things look a little bit nicer. I'll center all of these things right here. Where'd my center go? Must be in the more. There, I've centered everything, and you can even take this column and you can also center it in the middle, and then let's make it bold as well. So there's my data. There's the pivot table right here, and you'll notice, let's keep track of this, the Democrat sum of the years in office was 89 point something. If I go back and pick one of the Democrats and take him out of office, Franklin Roosevelt, let's say he was never in office. If I go to my pivot report, notice it changed for me because that cell is based upon this worksheet right here. So I'm going to undo that so that I don't ruin my data. So that's what you're going to do for this. You're going to change this like I did at the beginning. We'll do a little bit of sorting practice together, and then you're going to add a pivot table. Again, that's a little bit of an advanced thing, but it's a really good tool to be able to learn how to do.